about 10 or 5 till 1.
Okay, that is fine. And Kitty and I can handle whatever is still remaining at that point, totally. Hey, everyone. Whatever is still remaining at that point, totally. All right, that's working. Hey, everyone. This is episode 391 being recorded on June 30th of 2020. We're going to get going here in just a minute. And, yeah, we had a little technical issue before the show, but we've got it all sorted and we're getting going. We've got Kitty with us today. KittyKissz is here. And of course, Doc, and I will be. Let's see, let me tweet this out.
We have such an opportunity to do a Brady Bunch moment.
That's right.
Wave over to you guys.
Dun, 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 dun. TV. And let's see, it's almost. There we go. So, yeah. Here we go. We got it tweeted out. Hey, everyone. All right. So, sorry for the little bit of a delay. Just like 612A, there was a little technical issue. So, yeah. So, 612A did go live today, and we'll be talking about that. And there's apparently a little issue, so they had to bring the server down briefly and bring it back up after fixing something. So, we'll talk about that in a while. But let's get the actual show going here. So, is everyone's Audacity running?
Audacity, let me double check. We are live.
Excellent. Doc, you ready to go?
1 second.
Okay.
It's one of those.
That's right, Doc. We're fixing an exploit.
Oh, I forgot. We have chat going.
Yeah. We've already got several people in there. Sorry about the delay. Yeah, we had. I don't know what's going on. Well, hopefully we'll have that sorted by next show. But although now that I know a workaround, I can probably get it worked around a lot faster. So
I want to have the stream up. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. Oh no, I'm hearing myself. That's terrible. Okay. All right. I have that. So let me just drag Discord over the Twitch so that the stream chat's right there.
I know I have to futz around with mine a lot too, so it doesn't look like I'm just staring off into space.
Right.
I have to move I want to move like OBS and the notes and everything over to this corner so it's near my camera, because if I look where you guys look on my screen, it looks like I'm like completely ignoring you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I think we can go.
We're good to go? Okay. We better go then. All right. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that can bring you in warm or can bring you in cold. This is episode 391, being recorded on Tuesday, June 30th, 2020. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, Dr. Swotor. Hey, Doc. Oh, sorry. Now you're Dr. Gameology, now known as Dr. Gameology. Hey, Doc.
Yeah, I love that intro because I know that every episode I bring the warm and desert heat. So is it cold where you are, Chill?
It's been a very cold spring. We've finally gotten some nice weather.
So, it is not spring. COVID-19 deleted that from the calendar.
Yeah,
that's pretty much. Yeah,
it's 112 degrees outside today.
Oh,
that's not spring. It's called June 30.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah. Tatooine. All right.
Yeah, that is hot. And we have KittyKissz is back. Hey, Kitty.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
And this is no normal. Guest spot today. We have a big announcement. So, Doc, why don't you let us know the big news? What's going on with your life?
All right. So, my life has gotten really busy, and I know that people have been listening to the show. The last 2 episodes, I've had to tag out before the top of the hour because I have things scheduled on my calendar basically every early afternoon that have somewhat to do with the Dr. Gameology situation.
Right.
The field of counseling has asked me to do things to help counselors understand video games better, and so that
Which is
has
awesome.
become,
Yeah.
yes, and it's going to be some projects that take a very long time for anybody to even know they exist, but it's that's why I do all this writing that I've been telling you guys a few times every year. I've been able to check in and say, this is what I did.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and that's
papers
gone,
and talks you've given and all that.
yeah. So that's really gone somewhere. It's become so far even beyond what I set out to do. You don't put the cart before the horse, but eventually you realize you journeyed somewhere. So I am tagging in KittyKissz.
That's right.
To
The
bring
baton.
some positive, insightful, well, possibly insightful. I don't know what you're aiming for, Kitty, but I know it's going to be fun. And before the episode, I was talking with Kitty about one of the things that once I got past the sadness of like, man, I'm gonna have to talk with Chill about this. This is getting really rough. But then once Kitty, once I heard that you said yes, I started thinking about that in my head. I was like, I'm looking forward to listening to OotiniCast again.
Yeah.
I stopped listening to it because...
Well, you record it, yeah.
Right. So, I've only listened to maybe 2.5 episodes the last 2 years, and that's just more of like, how did my mic do? And SWTOR, I think, is really tough for me to talk about right now because I'm involved in a lot of other games and a lot of other things, and the goals I have in SWTOR, they matter a lot to me, and probably too much because I get very angry about them. And once I run out of energy to blame myself, that energy starts flowing into blaming BioWare, which I don't think they know. But I have been very upset at them for a long time, so I think that that's not a good place to be when you're recording. And last night I did 10 people for 16-man story mode ops, and it was really fun. And
Nice.
Wow.
it's nice to get in there and do things that matter, but matter in different ways. So like the interaction with other people, the socialization, the friendships, and a little bit of a challenge, but not really. It's fun to do those things because the other way that I play is just you crank the challenge all the way up, and the relationships are in the backseat if they matter even at all. And so you get to know these people, but the challenge is destroying you every 6 minutes and 15 seconds. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not quitting the game. And
Okay.
I even told you, Chill, this still is where I'm at mentally. If there's something for me to come on and talk with the two of you about, you don't have to.
Oh, we'd love it. Yeah, especially if you have like another a project that you're really excited to talk about on a podcast. We'd love to have you back about that.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that the complication is there is no hour in my schedule anymore that is open every week or every 2 weeks, and that's a
lot.
it is a lot.
That is a lot.
I have to wake up and I have to grind, and the grind doesn't give me renown crates, but luckily the things I get are more valuable than renown crates. So BioWare, think about that, please. Like, renown crates could have cool stuff in them. I think, yeah, they could. So that's where I'm at. So SWTOR is just gonna refocus inside what it is that I get to do, and my other streaming is really fun.
I'll attest to that.
Yeah, I randomly was Scrubbly and Chad issued me a challenge at the end of his Friday night stream, and he's like, Doc, you're all talk. When are you going to stream WWE 2K20? I was like, I'll go make coffee. Let's do it now. So I did, And it was just normal. Like I brought Scrub into Discord, so we had a little bit of banter commentary going while I'm like, honestly, I'm learning how to play the game, and I don't have great knowledge about people who weren't wrestling in 2005 or 1995. So like I'm trying to understand the 2K20.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so randomly, anyone who watches wrestling, Drew Gulak raids my channel and brings over 120 people with him.
Wow.
And he's a WWE wrestler, if you didn't know.
Dang.
So I'm sitting here comfortably playing WWE 2K20.
Right.
I'm impersonating Mankind McFoley. Scrubland Chad is impersonating the Big Show. And we're just having a spat in the ring where, like, suddenly out of nowhere, Big Show punches me in the face. It's like, oh, we're doing this now. And these people are just like, you know, this is Drew, and like, oh my gosh, like you guys are nailing it. And
that's hilarious.
It was insane. It was insane fun. So sometimes really cool things happen when you're streaming, and that's kind of on the fun side. That's what I'm looking forward to. Persona.
Yeah, new RP server here. New RP server over here.
Yeah. So Persona 5, I'm almost 100 hours into it, and all of it's been streamed. So really, really fun stuff. And the mental health moment is I'm actually putting those little videos in my classes, and it's actually resulted in some of my students not realizing that that's me. So that's weird. Because I tell them it's me in the post with the video. But it's resulted in a lot better conversations in my online classes. Like they're reacting to those little 3 to 4 minute clips,
right?
With much more curiosity and more implementation into their thought process than the actual curriculum. So, the Dr. Gameology thing has been just a really surprising and cool thing that's, helping my video game life and my professional life, not just to shift separately, but to really integrate, like in a Tony Stark is Iron Man kind of way. Like nobody's surprised by that. It's just, it's not Batman and Bruce Wayne,
Right.
So that's what I was aiming for, and it seems to be working. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm sad today. I'm glad that I got a few minutes to talk about it.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for a while, but it always seemed like I could overcome it until the just the having to leave the show quickly. And then I was like, well, here we go.
Well, it's been really great having you as the co-host on this show, and you've definitely put like a big stamp on the show. You've definitely like given it an interesting direction. I'd still like to do the mind trap, probably not with a psychological edge, but as just the idea of, doing a Twitter poll and then discussing the results, I think is really, really smart. And if with your permission, we'll keep the name and everything, but we'll probably keep that segment on the show.
I could do that. I could also record a clip of like what I'm seeing with the results, kind of like a mental health moment.
I would love that. Yeah, that would be great.
Because those, the funny thing is, people have been commenting with me from the video game side and the student side about how insightful these things are. And they're just random things that pop into my head because I'm playing a video game that poses questions about how we interact with other people, about humanity. The Last of Us is a treasure trove of human life lessons.
Right.
I haven't gotten to. Well, I did get traumatized live on my stream. They shot Pickles, which is the name that we gave my horse. Spoilers. Sorry. So chill. Maybe like put a spoiler tag sound effect. But one of my mental health moments, it's like my chat helped me name the horse, and that actually helps me care about the horse. And equine therapy is a real thing, and this is what we use to treat anxiety and addiction and all kinds of things. And then the next stream, boom, Pickles, R.I.P. So,
oh boy,
man. Naughty Dog got me there. So let's get back to OotiniCast, right?
Okay.
Let's do this one more time, Chill.
All right. Well, before we talk about your week, then let's welcome Kitty as the new co-host. Hey, Kitty. We're so excited to have you on an ongoing basis as the co-host. Obviously, this is a very quick handover. We don't, no one's expecting you to know exactly how it's going to go yet. But yeah, do you have any thoughts or feelings at this moment?
I was stunned that you asked, because I actually was going to quit the game, but then found OotiniCast, then found Ootini, and the idea of me being on the podcast that got me back into the game is amazing. It's so great. It's so
that is
weird.
Great.
It's so weird, but I am so glad. I'm sad that we're not going to be able to hear Doc every week, but
right.
That he's moving in a direction that he's growing and being happy.
Absolutely.
Kudos.
Absolutely.
I think also, Doc, you are way above the curve on the psychology of gaming. I see in the future that you're going to be the guy.
Right.
And so you're going to watch my career with great interest?
Yes, that's right. We watch your career with great interest.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for thinking of me. Yay!
All right. Well, that's excellent. We're going to, obviously, this also might mean, especially I know, Kitty, your schedule is going to be changing a little bit in the coming future. They're at least trying to open up the city where you live, and you might be able to have more of a normal work schedule. I know that's coming up, so we might have to change the OotiniCast time, but we've done that before, and we can do it again. So that's not a problem, and we'll figure that out when we can. And until then, I guess we'll keep the Tuesday noon slot for now.
I'll keep you posted.
Excellent. All right. So Doc, what you been doing in game the last couple of weeks?
Well, on Thursday night, I played with my Nightmare team, and we did Terror from Beyond. And big spoilers, the Terror killed us the entire evening, which makes today's episode very similar to June 16th, June 2nd, and whatever the May one was, and then the other May one, the April ones, and the March ones. Same spot. All right. So that's tough. It happens, though. People tell me that I expect too much, and this is what Nightmare rating is. So let's do it again on Thursday. Maybe I'll have to create a faux tip of the week when we finally kill him, and just be like, "Chill. This is not a tip, but I killed the Terror. So please read this on the show."
It can be done.
Woot, woot.
And I played. Either it'll be a triumphant, and I played a sorcerer. No, I'm not going to say anything mean to BioWare. I was going to use a wrestling phrase. Anyone who sees the webcam knows which one I was going to go with. I was a sorcerer, so take that. That's basically the sentiment. Or it'll be like, I created a power tech and we won the first week. So, that's kind of how I feel about the game. Revan, with Death Star Troopers, Marcus is our team leader. I know I probably don't need to explain that to listeners, but maybe this is their first episode, and it's like, oh man, I hope I never get to hear that Doc guy again. Anyway, no, weird first episode, by the way, if this is it for you.
Yeah.
We got the sacrificial sphere to 41%, which is the final part of the fight. So the tough part on veteran mode is there's aberrations, these purple hazes around the room. They come out in groups of 4, and they're still there in story mode. But in story mode, all you have to do is not stand in them.
Right.
In veteran mode, they charge up and start pulsing with a more powerful looking light, and then they explode. And if your character is not facing, shoulders squared, facing them as they explode, you go flying off the platform. You're done. So the challenge is you have to orient yourself on that third floor, which is a circle, like it's the face of a clock. and someone on the team will be paying attention to the order they light up, because that tells you the order they will explode.
Yikes. Okay.
So 4 purple hazes, and then light, 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 boom, 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 boom. So someone's going to be saying 2 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So then once they say that 4th number, you look at 2. I don't even remember the order. And this is why you die. So so we were able to do that. And then you can go into the sphere. The sphere pushes you out and pulls you in. So you have to do that so that you land still on the platform. And then when the little moments in time where neither of those two things are happening, you can damage the sphere just like in story mode. So we were able to navigate a couple waves of those exploding purple hazes to get it to the low 40%. So we're very close to beating Temple of Sacrifice. And that'll be really cool when it happens. And then, like I said, I did a 16-man story mode. We had 10 people. We easily cleared Terror from Beyond, which I'm not going to lie is a really satisfying thing. I don't care if it's story mode. Watching the terror fly away is, I think I psychologically needed that. But I was still jumping off the platform so that I wouldn't get slammed, even though in story mode you can eat that no problem. No tentacles hit me the entire fight, so that was nice. That's a really good, it might seem silly because you don't have to play that way on story mode, but if your goal is bigger, then it is a little bit of a training opportunity just to practice and hold yourself accountable. Right. There are still some really important things that don't appear at all, so you can't practice them at that difficulty. Oh, Scrubland Chad says we have 11 people. So whoever I wasn't counting, I probably didn't count Scrubland Chad, so I'm kidding. So that was fun, and that really is my entire Soldier week. Just 3 raids, 2 stomping my face in, and 1 just as a defense mechanism or a coping skill.
Nice. All right, Doc. So, hey, Kitty, it's been a little time since you've been on the show. What you been up to, and how's your stream going, and all that good stuff?
Stream's going great. I've been doing a lot of, we kind of have a similar style of gameplay. I like to run through the stories and like set some parameters as, okay, I like to do an arc, basically. So the character starts off naive and cocky because, they're, in all actuality, they're kind of scared. Okay. And make choices kind of based on that. But this time, I'm doing it with the help of chat. We built the character with the help of chat, and we're playing through the story right now. And it's really fun. I love it. And, of course, doing a lot of Nightmare Space Barbies, which is really, really kind of something I didn't expect other people to really enjoy. And they'll call me out on it. Like, oh, you need an outfit for this. Okay, I should preface like what we consider Nightmare Mode Space Barbie. You have to have the correct outfit for the correct area. For instance, Hoth, you need, some
winter gear of some sort. Okay.
Oh.
And you have to have an appropriate mount. So,
okay. So a tauntaun or whatever.
A tauntaun, yeah, perfect for Hoth. And of course, I've got a bunch of stuff already unlocked, so it makes it pretty easy. But it's Space Barbie, and I never thought I'd get into it, but I love it. I'm in there. Like, yeah.
So you need like a Chemilizard on Quesh.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some other examples.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Fractals on Belsavis.
There could be, a certain reason, for why you're dressed a certain way. And on Quesh, you need something to breathe on. So does your alt, by the way. And the alt, your companion has to look nothing like the way they come vanilla. So different skin, different outfits. And if you see someone in the storyline wearing your outfit, it's a wipe.
It's a wipe. It's a wipe.
I love that.
It's a wipe. That's
So
great.
good.
Yeah, so like Steel Sean, you can't put that outfit on for the vanilla story, or
Right. Yeah.
whatever.
That's
and then
right.
doing Jar Jar with Utini every week, which is super fun, and just having fun, being happy. It's great. What about you, Jill?
That's
What have you been
awesome.
up to?
All right. Well, let me do a quick shout out to the chat room. We've got, let's see, 24 is here, Commander Root, Darklight Wolf, Dex here. Hey, Deck. Hot Local Mom is here. Kramer29, Master Lil. Hey, Lil. Merc for Soup, Cogsick. Arjar's here. Hey, Arjar. Rogue Tulip, Scrublin Shad, and Squishy Twitchy. Hey, everyone. All right. So I finally got my 6 of 6 on my main. I'm really excited to really try it out. I got it on the Jar Jar Joyride last Friday, but I've been doing some other stuff that I'll talk about in a sec. So I haven't really tested it out, but I finally got my 6 of 6. I had the 4 of 6, and the 4 of 6 was actually important on that particular set. It's the Flawless Riposte, but I was really looking forward to trying it with the 6 piece, and I finally got that. And so we'll have to put it through its paces later this week for sure. I did get Poison Ivy through the story, but I say the story through the class story and through everything else. Now she just got in her alliance after chapter 9 of Kotfi. And so what I've decided is, I really like this spec. Like it's the poison spec on operative, and it would be, and it's not poisons actually, it's bleeds, but it's the same idea. It's the dot spec on the scoundrel side. But my mains now are the Wonder Woman and Red She-Hulk, and they are tanks. And the guild doesn't always need a tank. Sometimes, there's only a couple of tank slots, even on a 16-man. So sometimes we need DPS. So I need a DPS character. So what I figure I'll do is we'll kit out Ivy. We'll take her all the way through the story, make sure she gets her 6-piece, and the right everything. We'll get her augments and all that stuff. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Well, who am I going to do as a scoundrel? Well, I just thought about it, and after a while I decided, well, I really like the idea of doing Black Widow again, because I had done her before as an operative, but I obviously don't need an operative anymore, and she'd been left behind. She's like level 70. So I deleted that version of her, restarted her as a scoundrel, and she's just finishing up Coruscant. I actually did a second stream late last night and got her through Coruscant, and pretty happy with. She actually looks better than the last time I did her, except for, of course, when the Eldritch Horror appears, because for whatever reason there's this bug in the game for female characters, certain classes, or maybe it's Republic side, I don't know. It hasn't happened on Ivy at all, hasn't happened on anyone else, but it's happening on her, where sometimes it happens during cutscenes, but usually it happens when you click on like a codex thing, or like an elevator or something like that. Anything that you can kind of click on in the world, and all of a sudden your left arm will turn into like this weird thing from The Thing, and your head flops over on a piece of spaghetti, and then it comes back to normal, and it's very disturbing. And I have a screenshot of it, and it is evil looking. It is right out of The Thing from, what is that, 1983 or whatever, John Carpenter. It is very disturbing. Fortunately, it doesn't last too long, but I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with her so far, and I'm really liking the spec again. What I'm doing to make this one more interesting this time is I'm doing it with no active companion. If you try to dismiss them all the time, they just kind of come back. So I've decided that's a pain in the ass. So I have them out, but I keep them on passive. And that way they can also like run and grab a bioanalysis node, or a slicing node or whatever. So it's obviously going a lot slower because of that. I'm getting in the fights feel kind of like they did back, like before McKeb, like before you had any presence stat on your character, before, your companion could even be over level 10 in terms of influence, because they called it whatever they called it back in the day, and it was a lot harder to get, of course, too. And Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Of course, I have the ability to stealth on her. It helps. She has some self-healing, but she's also very squishy, and definitely has come really close to dying a couple of times. And it's also really funny just watching Corso kind of stare at you while while you're fighting. It's like you're really beating him up and shooting your gun, and things are exploding, and Corso's just standing next to you, looking at you like, "Hey, how you doing?" So
Do the companions speak at all while they're passive?
Yeah, they'll still like, if you go into like the right part of Coruscant, they'll say, "Wow, this place is blah blah blah." Yeah, they do still do that. So,
but not during combat.
Yeah, there's not much going on during combat. But the reason they normally talk during combat is when they like get the killing blow and stuff like that, or if you get healed back to full. It's possible if I heal myself to full that they might say something, but at this point I don't have enough heals to actually have that happen. So my hot rarely heals me back to full during a fight. So yeah, but it's been a lot of fun actually, and it's definitely more challenging, and I'm looking forward to taking it through the story that way. Nice. Yeah, so that's been really, really good. All right, so that will bring us to the tip of the week, and there weren't any sent in, but I do have one for you. And the new bar, everyone's favorite, right? The new bar called the Galactic Guide is annoying. Yes, I don't think I've had anyone who was like completely positive about the Galactic Guide. It's annoying in that it's not tied into the UI system, and it can't be resized, and it's also hard to move around because if you click on anything inside it, it's highlighted, it brings open a window. There's also a bug that they know about where it can like block off that part of the screen where where it would be, even if it's like tucked up, it still blocks things. They're working on that. I do put mine in the far right corner just because that's where I used to have that information, that like the mail information that it shows now. So yeah, so the tip is, well, here's how you move it. First of all, the Galactic Guide can only be moved if your enable movable secondary window setting is active. So go into if for some reason you can't move it at all, that's probably the reason. Go into your settings, make sure enable movable secondary window is active. And then the best way to click it, you have to click on the thickest parts of the bar, because anything even close to any of the things in the middle of him will just bring up that junk instead. It's really tricky to move. I have the most luck on the very far right of the curve, like way on the outside, like practically the first pixel that you can click on the dang thing, and then whoop, pull it up to the side. I have had it reset on me once or twice, but for the most part it seems to want to stay in one spot. But anyway, it is not a lot of fun.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's not, unfortunately. I think it's a shame. I mean, I guess because they wanted a place to kind of highlight, like the cartel market stuff and stuff like that. They didn't want it to just be part of the UI, because you can completely turn that off if they did. So I understand, what's going on there, but it's still a little unfortunate. It would be at least nice if we could have some way to fully resize it. Yeah, Doc.
Yeah.
Why not have the default position, the position of the thing that it's replacing?
Right.
That'd work great.
Yeah, I feel, I don't know. It got implemented and maybe it wasn't finished, or maybe they didn't have a chance to test it, so the only option was to put it directly into the live server.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I haven't had any real problem with like the, not being able to click on things because the window is blocking it. But if you are, you might try putting in the lower right, or lower left, because that way whatever it's blocking is actually off the screen. And I would assume that would kind of fix things. I haven't actually tested that though. I think the reason I don't have very many problems with that is because I use my scroll wheels on my mouse as for target next and target closest, and so I very rarely need to click on things during a fight directly. So I haven't had any problems with like not being able to click on things that I want to click on, especially during fights. Yeah, so I'm a little awkward about the Galactic Guide. Hopefully they will especially get that weird bug fixed, but it'd be nice if they also at least made it make it so you could make it a little smaller, because it is pretty chonky right now.
If they did an extension off the end of it with the 2 horizontal lines, the universal symbol for click and drag this thing.
Yeah.
That would, because I didn't know it was movable, right? I started my raid night on Thursday. Like, oh my gosh, this thing is covering the bottom 4 people on my raid frame. Why would they choose to put a permanent menu there?
Right.
So it was, that was frustrating, but they could tweak the visualization to make it more easily movable.
That would be nice. A little corner with a little, that little marker, like you said, that everyone knows to grab onto. Yeah.
The first time I ran into it, I was trying to click on a mail, like your a mail box, and I couldn't click it, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and then eventually kind of figured I could turn and kind of click it that way, and my mind's just going, okay, what's going on? And finally I figured it out.
That bug reminds me of something that's not really a bug, but you know how, like, if you've just gone through an instance door and the instance door is between the character and you as a character, as the player, like if there's like an instance door there, a lot of times you can't click on anything because the game considers you to be clicking on the instance door, which doesn't do anything. So everything else is sort of like unavailable until you move your camera so that the instance door isn't right there. If it's kind of like that. It's a little like that.
And it won't go to the very top of
no, that bugs me too. That bugs me too, because everything else is nice and gridded for me, and then there's this that's like, it's like a good 4 pixels down or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like 4 pixels.
To be fair, how is BioWare supposed to know the degree of obsessive compulsive people who play MMORPG?
That's right.
All I have to do is look at the positioning of all the stuff in my inventory.
Right.
How it's exactly the same on all my characters.
I'll tell you, it's something like this that makes you appreciate the UI system and like how well designed and how well implemented it is, and how you can turn bars off and on, you can resize them, you can reshape them, you can move them, you can make them partly opaque or partly see-through. It's freaking gorgeous, man. It's such a great UI system, and then all it takes is like one piece of it to not be part of the UI system, make you realize, oh, okay, the UI system's awesome, and everything that's not, it sucks. But whatever. For the most part, I just have it tucked up in the corner, and I haven't dealt with that bug too much, like I said, because I have target next and target closest a lot, focused a lot on my buttons. So anyway, so if you have a tip of the week to send in, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show, and that'll give you a chance to win a Tonfon or M83R droid or M2B9 droid code courtesy of BioWare, plus an OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And that will bring us to the news. How are you doing on time, Doc? Do you need to duck out right now?
Yeah, I probably have to meditate really hard and start sending physical versions of me across the galaxy. Well,
don't do it too long. You know what happens.
Oh, right. That effort. No one's ever really gone. Oh man, all of the different quotes are hitting us from everyone's favorite Star Wars film. All right. Well, I guess I'll say bye.
Yeah, Doc. I've loved having you as a co-host.
Yes. So this is the very end of June, and my first official episode as a host was 2 Julys ago. So on my CV, I am giving myself credit for 2 years of hosting OotiniCast.
Definitely.
It's been so much fun. The things that have happened for the show and in the game, I'm really proud that I was where I was and able to do it when I could. Even going back to the episode where I was just minding my business, grading papers, and I had developed this habit of listening to OotiniCast while I grade, and just randomly an episode started with a letter from Tio, and I just felt like I could do this. So I reached out to Chill and said, I know the episode just happened, so let's not talk about it today, but I want to help. So about a week later, we talked, you and me, Chill, and then we started doing episodes together. And the highlights for me, getting to cover an expansion, getting to cover 4 Star Wars movies, getting to talk on air with Eric Musco and Charles Boyd.
Yeah, that was good.
Even though they hate my class, I like them as people. I wish they'd give me some DPS points on some of my moves back. But I was parsing 7,000 points higher 6 months ago. So just think about that. So that hurts, but it's also part of MMO life. And I've been told that happens every expansion cycle to somebody. So, and then, the expansion, right? The ability to go to the New York Comic Con and talk with people that I've never met and just have a few minutes where people are like just literally right behind my shoulder having a different conversation, but it's with someone that knows me, whether it's Marcus or Max or some of the other people who were there, and they're like, Dr. Sotor, which was my name then, is here. And they're like, what, really? And then they turn around and they start talking to me about how my positive mental health approach towards talking about video games either changed the dialogue cycle in their family, helped video games become. Now, you should probably not play 100 hours a week of a video game, but if it's reasonably implemented in your life, how for me, it's a tool to have friends, as a person who left everything to go pursue a different journey that, left everyone behind except for my family. So video games and SWTOR specifically have been a really powerful force for good. And I always will have been Dr. SWTOR, but I guess the final thing I would say is anyone listening, if you're working on a doctorate in something and SWTOR can fit in, the Twitter handle's available. So, just like the doctor, eventually we all regenerate. Someone else has to carry the torch. So if that's something you want to do, you can. I would love to talk with you about dissertations too. But it's been fun. Chill, thank you so much for welcoming me onto the show and doing 2 years of episodes and going through the journey of this game and letting me be a part of it.
It's been great, Doc. So thank you so much. We will miss you, but of course, like if you do have little bits you want to send in or occasional guest spots, we'd love to have you. And it sounds like things are going great with the whole Dr. Gameology field that you're sort of expanding on. I'm so excited for that, and can't wait to keep following you, on Twitter and everywhere else to keep seeing how you do there. So thanks again.
On that, really quick. I am trying to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube so I can customize the YouTube URL to be .com/Dr. Gameology on YouTube, because that will help a lot with recognizability. And I launched a starting version of drgameology.com this week. And so
nice.
I'm going to continue to use Twitter and other social medias to keep my stuff circulating. But I have kind of a hub, and I'm even looking into in-game life coaching and things like that could be something I start doing, and not just SWTOR. That's kind of there's things that have to fit into place where I professionally am able to offer that, but that's on my list of things. And I just want to continue being a force for good and helping people.
Awesome. All right, Doc. Thanks.
All right.
Have a good one.
Doc.
Have a good rest of the show. Thank you, Kitty.
I'll see you tomorrow morning if you're streaming.
If I can, I will, but I'm sure I'll get another one in this week.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodles.
All right. Well, that's Doc. All right, Kitty. So Yeah.
Right to the big boys.
That's right. You're right into the co-host position now. So
luckily, I have a belt buckle on my gamer chair.
All right, let's get right into the news then. Right. So a little bit of wildness on 6.1.2a today. Well, first of all, a week ago, 6.1.2 went live. We'll talk about that briefly. It's all about, and we've talked about these before, the swoop rally, Nature of Progress Master Mode, the Galactic Guide, which we've talked about already. And so 6.1.2a went live today. However, it went live, then they took it down, then they brought it back up. And what was going on, Eric let us know. First of all, apologies, he writes, for the up and down this morning. The last thing we want is to bring the game out of maintenance, only to have to bring it back down again. As some of you alluded to, what we discovered is that a variety of consumable items were not being removed upon use. This included both reputation items and renown consumables. Since a player could effectively infinitely redeem these items, or to the weekly cap for reputation, we needed to bring the game down to address this. These items, once again, are working as intended. A big thank you, as we were quickly flooded with reports of the consumables acting in this unintended way. This allowed us to isolate and address the issue quickly. And someone asked, what about the people who abused it? Did they walk away laughing up their sleeves? And Eric said, I don't want to speak too specifically about account action at this time until we get a better scope of who exploited and to what degree. As with any exploit, the team will conduct an investigation and take appropriate action against individuals who abused it. I can circle back with more details, though. Once that concluded, I would not expect it this week. So Eric did follow up with that.
Sounds like somebody was taking advantage.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. I would say, hopefully the listeners have. I could imagine, like, if you had a stack of rep items, especially, if you were just waiting for the reset so you could use some more. Right. If you clicked on some, you might not notice at first that they weren't going down. But hopefully, you stop once you realize, hey, I still have, the 10 I had from before or whatever. And hopefully you wouldn't get punished for that. But I'm sure there were people who just or clearly, and the way Eric said it was working, like you could buy a renown boost, like you use it, return it, essentially have it cost nothing. So, yeah. All right.
Someone.
Yeah, exactly. So what was working for 6.1.2a that they were trying to actually fix before this bug came up? There was the lockout for veteran and master mode of Nature of Progress operation now has the weekly reset time as intended. There was some sort of bug where it was happening daily instead. That was obviously messing people's progress up. Players will no longer have their crew skill ratings of 601 or higher be reset to 600 upon login or activation of a crew skill mission. Anyone who first experienced this issue prior to 100 UTC June 15th will now find their rank restored to its pre-reset value. Anyone who first experienced this issue since then will be addressed in our next patch. Yeah. Unfortunately, what I did in my case is, because it said, like, for a long time it said, like, it went up to 700, but you didn't necessarily have to buy the 700 from the vendor. Like, there was that weird period of time when you just kind of got it for free, essentially. I just assumed that that was a bug and they were just reverting it. So I actually just went back and bought it again, and then just started leveling it up again, because I figured, okay, well, that was intended, but apparently they didn't really care about that, and it's going to get reset anyway. So I kind of wasted a couple million on that, but
Wow.
Yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? At least it'll all be 700. I won't have to think about it again. The Grandmaster, Nature of Progress achievement from Nature of Progress is now showing proper progression. Galactic Guide will no longer prevent players from interacting with NPCs and objects in-game even when minimized, so that's good. So sounds like, at least according to them, the Galactic Guide should now work as intended, where it won't give you that window block thing.
Oh, good.
We'll see. I mean,
Yep, we will.
you know. And it will no longer vanish when unchecking the enable movable secondary window, which is almost too bad. I'm just kidding. I actually do want the information that's up there because it includes, the mail and how many people are from your guild are online and friends that are online, stuff like that. There's actually good information on it. I just don't like how it's physically implemented. Players are no longer disconnected when quickly opening and closing the Galactic Guide. That's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know that, that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, no, the only really weird bug for me recently has been the Eldritch Horror on female characters.
Wasn't that kind of like the one that used to happen when you mounted up? It looks like almost the same kind of posture. Yeah,
there's a few times in the game where something weird like that has happened. Yeah, I don't know if they're directly related or if it's just, coincidentally similar. It's hard to tell. Let's see. And then partial progress on the following Mechshaw heroic missions achievements has been reset. They will now progress as intended. So Mechshaw aspiring to heroics, hero of the day, true heroism, pit boss, kingpin, and the dawn. So there you go. And the All Worlds Ultimate Swoop Rally event is now live. All that's really good. Have you done much of the Swoop Rally yet?
Yeah, I did a couple planets so far. I think it's going to be really cool once you start to get a little bit more familiar with the course.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it'll be really fun.
Right.
And it seems like it would be really fun to do with like a group of people. Get some of your friends together and just go through and have some fun.
Right. See if you can like mess them up and stuff.
Yeah. It's really cool. I was kind of afraid that you'd have to go search it out on the other planets.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't. They give you a quick travel there.
Nice.
And so you're ready to go. And I think it's going to be really fun. I just like seeing new stuff. Even if it's something that eventually I'm not going to want to do, I like the idea of it just being there.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's really cool too. I mean, there's a lot of fun interactables and so on. So I'm gonna have to get back into it. I really just did it early on in the testing phase, so I haven't really done it since it's gone live. But it'll be fun to see it now that it's on the live server and balanced a little better too. By the way, I was having trouble with some of those missions because they hadn't balanced them yet.
Yeah, they're confusing.
A little at first. It takes a little. Yeah, they're definitely different from anything else. So yeah, there were some Cartel Market editions, and like sometimes for me it's usually like one or two things kind of catch my eye, and everything else is like whatever. And this time it was like, oh my god, like everything is so cool. It's like,
oh yeah.
First of all, there's the Elite Mandalorian bundle, which includes the Mandalorian armor with the cool like horns, and then helmet. Yeah, the Mandalorian Stormbringer's armor set, and then the Basilisk War Mount, which is like crazy. It's a complete war machine and has a flare and everything. They do know about a bug with the flare, by the way. But yes, very cool. The Ancient Jedi bundle, which has like a hood up, hood down version thing going on. That's quite cool as well.
The blade is awesome. That blade looks so cool.
Yes. Yeah, that one's coming too. Hang on a sec. There's the Wayward Voyager's armor set, which is like the only one that doesn't really appeal to me, but I'm sure it has its place. It's sort of like a long leather trench coat, so I mean, I could definitely see people who are looking for that sort of look. Especially since like the other trench coats in the game are kind of open. It's all the Nico Okar sort of thing where you see the chest armor. This one actually has a trench coat where the coat is properly closed, so that might actually appeal to a lot of people. And then the Ancient Force imbued blade staff. There's a single blade and double blade version, and they have there's even a sheath that goes on the back and everything. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Even the Advanced Scout Walker, I think is pretty nice. I actually do prefer like the smaller Scout Walkers that you can actually see the people in them, as opposed to like, the ATST type where you don't see the people at all. I prefer that, like more the Clone Wars style where you're actually riding on top of a little two-legged walker. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then the video didn't copy into the show notes properly, but there's a holographic weapon tuning. Basically, it just covers almost the entire weapon, except for usually the end of the barrel with like a hologram. It just looks very cool. It really does. It's very nice. And you can change the color. with your color crystal. Very nice. And Swow Teresa did some nice reviews about the Ancient Force Imbued Blade and the Blade Staff versions, the Jedi Warrior Armor, and the Mandalorian Stormbringer Armor. And I have links to her YouTube reviews in the show notes. Yeah. And is there any of those that you're like really looking at, like you might buy them for a character, or have you bought any?
Yeah, I already bought the Jedi armor, the Wayward Voyager set,
Nice.
just for the blade.
Oh, okay.
It's a really, really expensive just for the weapon itself,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's only another 1,000 or so to get the whole thing. So I just went for it.
Oh, okay.
And I am definitely going to be getting the what is it? The Bounty Hunter set.
Yeah, that is way cool.
I mean,
the Mandalorian, gosh darn it, has a fancy name.
Yeah.
There
That
you go.
helmet
Stormbringer.
is so cool.
Yeah, it is way
And
cool.
that mount, I have wanted to see a
Basilisk war mount. Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah. It even appears in the Star Wars: The Old Republic novels, for instance. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you actually read about those and being, used and stuff. So it's really cool that they're actually bringing them into the game.
Definitely. I love that stuff. And I agree with you about the little walkers,
Mm-hmm.
the ATRTs or whatever.
Yeah,
Those things are great.
I love
like
those too.
It definitely has a Clone Wars look to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminds me of Star Wars Galaxies. But I'll
Nice.
probably buy all of them.
Ka-ching.
Exactly. Like, I have to have it.
Right. Okay, so there was a nice little follow-up. Like last show we talked about how Charles Boyd went into like what year of SWTOR are we in? In other words, like what the calendar actually was. And, he gave some caveats, but he kind of laid out roughly how many years had passed, from the beginning of your character story, which would be level 1, all the way up, to where we are right now with Onslaught. And that was really cool, and definitely check that out. But there was a little bit of follow-up. In other words, there's some follow-up questions, and he actually went through and gave some good answers, some pretty cool answers here. So let's see. What age would you say the 8 classes are if you had to guess? And he says, I don't like to give any canon age for the player characters. That should be left up to the player themselves as much as possible. Makes sense. Some of the, although I must say, like some of the Act 1s, like especially like the initial storylines, they do sort of indicate that you're pretty young. Like some of the Jedi, like they make it pretty clear that like you're a very young knight who has just completed his or her, initial training and is finally going to Tython. So, but yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Are the ages for the companions as stated in the encyclopedia their ages at the time we meet them in game? For example, is Risha 21 when we meet her in the prologue, or is this their age around the time of 13 ATC? And I'm not actually sure what everyone's intent was when we put that together. There were numerous authors on the encyclopedia, and all class writers were consulted, but I forget if we made this specific distinction when presenting the information. Giving a quick look, I'm going to say that the companion ages in the encyclopedia are probably intended at the ages when they're recruited and not at 13 ATC. For example, I don't think Kira is intended to be younger than Nadia, but Nadia is listed in the encyclopedia as 22, while Kira is listed as 20. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there, apparently. Yeah. Which is whatever, Let's see. We can make it relatively simple. Is Annihilation / the Battle of Duro supposed to be set the same year as Ilum or the year after? Since Drew said pretty explicitly that he intended it for 13 ATC, I'd prefer not to override that if there isn't some glaring conflict to resolve. It doesn't seem like it currently. I can't recall. Do any characters in Annihilation mention Malagus's uprising? I don't think they do. And I've listened, it's been a little while, but I have that one. That's one I have on audio book. I have it on Audible, and I actually listen to it like maybe a couple times a year, just because it's fun.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been recommended to me several times. I still haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, all the Star Wars novels are pretty fun. Deceived is my favorite. Annihilation is fun, but Revan's probably my second favorite, just because there's a lot of lore sort of related stuff to it. I do like Annihilation, and then the fourth one, can't remember the name of it. It involves Satele Shan and has a bunch of weird Force stuff, and it doesn't really appeal to me as much. But I'm there. I've talked to people literally on my stream when I've mentioned this. That's like, that's my fourth favorite, and they're like, "Whoa, that is my total favorite." So it's like, it's definitely, it's not because of quality, it's just because of personal taste.
Right.
I certainly don't mention it in Deceived, because Deceived is way before. Annihilation, though, I don't think they mention it in an Annihilation either. That's the one where you'd hear about it in Act 2 of Kotet, where Theron is going after the Ascendant Spear and has to take it down. The Fatal Alliance is the fourth one. Thank you, Arjar. I don't think they mention Malgus's Uprising in it one way or the other. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not after it, but I don't think that they mention it, which would definitely make it after it. So anyway, all right. My main this is that would mean the Alliance takes down the Eternal Empire in the same year that it was established, which just rubs me the wrong way. I've seen people here and elsewhere saying that it feels wrong in both directions. Some, like you, feel it's too fast. Others feel like it couldn't possibly take that long based on how the chapters themselves feel. I suspect the timing here will never please everyone, but in your specific case, I would personally look to the fact that the Alliance is made up of staggeringly powerful and skilled people who, until it was formed, were unable to combine their efforts. Once they could, it doesn't seem like much of a stretch that things took within a year, in my opinion. That's pretty cool, and it makes sense to me, too. And I must say, the chapters do feel like things are kind of like moving right along. Yeah, there's a couple of references of time passing, but I mean, often the chapters just roll from one to the other. It's like, we got the gravestone up, and now we're in Asylum, and now now we're doing things in Asylum. Now we're running back to Zakul for a minute. We come back to Asylum. Oh, there goes Asylum. I mean, this is all within. This has got to be within like days of each other. You know what I mean?
I know. I get so confused with that line. I always ask chat, wait, how long have we been out at the temple? And
yeah,
how long do we stay at Asylum?
Right, exactly. And I guess technically there could have been like 6 months before we go to Asylum, and then before we do that little side trip back to Zakul with Senya. I don't know, maybe that's the case, but it doesn't feel like it. It definitely feels like it's a much shorter period of time.
None of the NPCs give you a straight answer either. It's been a while.
Right.
Or,
It's been a long time.
Yeah. After last night, or has it been a month? What?
Right. Everything except for the 5 years in Carbonite. If it's not referencing that specifically, it's just completely up in the air pretty much. Yeah.
I know. That's the only thing I'm sure of. Okay, 5 years. Got it.
Interesting question here. Is there an in real life month that corresponds to the change in a year in the game? Again, for simplicity's sake, I use the in real life year rollover, December into January, to mark the in-game year rollover. I admit this is arbitrary, but in my opinion, it's one more area where the vagueness of time in Star Wars doesn't actually hold to scrutiny, because it was never meant to. What month was the Treaty of Coruscant signed? Was it coincidentally the same exact month as the Battle of Yavin, thousands of years later? Wouldn't there be times where Event A could be in 13 ATC and Event B is in 14 ATC, but they're both in 3640 BBY? Or vice versa? That way lies madness. So let's just all pretend Malgus was crashing the Jedi New Year party and Deceived and not dig any deeper into the hole.
Yeah, whenever I get into that kind of thinking, I just eat a cookie. I'm like, all right, there you go. Eat a cookie, be happy, and let's move.
That's a particular mall you don't want to jump into.
No.
Would it be possible, kind of along the same lines, I feel this question is, would it be possible that the Sith Empire used a different dating system, one that is still recent, but more geared towards the Empire's priorities and values? Which would make sense. It'd be probably set to the year the Emperor took power, I would assume. I mean, because the whole Empire revolves around the Emperor. I don't see why you would set it to anything else. I mean, sort of famously, we have our dating system, but the Roman system was based on the date of the founding of Rome. That literally became year one for Rome. And that's the year system that they used, for hundreds of years in the empire until, the Christians kind of took it over. But yeah, and that's sort of and that is sort of historically how things have happened. Big empires who have lots of power tend to set, year one as some important event in their culture, and everything just sort of revolves after that. And certainly I would think the Sith Empire would be set at year one of the Emperor taking over power. Probably the moment that he destroyed, the planet and became semi-immortal, and and then started taking over real power, with the destruction of the Sith. Yeah.
I would love to hear that phone call. We're switching off the metric system.
My car gets 40 rods to the hog's head. And that's the way I likes it. Old Simpsons reference. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so what he answers is, I think that would make sense, but I personally prefer not to introduce even more complexity into all of this. Furthermore, a new calendar system would constitute new lore and therefore be something to discuss with our LFL partners. It's not something I could simply declare in a forum post. So I wholeheartedly support role players using that idea, but I can't make it an official thing at this time. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, as soon as you set something in stone, it seems like you're just going to end up being wrong with new canon coming out all the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, but that's what's fun about it. Like when you're role playing, you get to throw all the rules out the window and have your own little world to play in.
Yep, I agree. Let's see, what is the relation between our HK51 and the HK50s and 51s from Knights of the Old Republic 2? And where does HK55 fit into that line? Is he a repurposed and modified HK51 built specifically for Lana? Or is he one of a kind creation by the Empire after we discovered HK51 from Section X? And he answers, I was under the impression that HK51 was only in deleted content for KOTOR 2. As for HK55, our intent was that he is his own new and improved model created by the Empire, but only produced in very limited quantities, which is why we haven't run into any others yet. Very cool. Yet. Well, Yeah, exactly. Fee's like, Charles, awesome. They're all such Star Wars nerds, and it's true, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
I'd still like to know why you decided to uplift a character such as Savik, who had exactly one appearance and didn't even speak back then. I chose her precisely because she was unmemorable in her first appearance. I wanted a character that players were likely to have fought, but unlikely to remember, so they could experience that feeling of having a huge impact on a character's life without ever having considered it at the time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I took it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't remember who she was.
That's right. You end up having to be Thanos. I don't even know who you are.
That's exactly right.
You screwed up my life. I don't even know who you are. Regarding this role of Kira and Scourge in ending this shit, which we now know they had a very important one, because apparently, even though we were doing very important things inside our own noggins, if they weren't doing what they were doing, he would actually have been able to slip away yet again. But regarding the role of Kira and Scourge in ending Vishit, did they know about the Alliance at that point? I'd hesitate to get into it too much, official detail and stuff like that, since leaving it open a bit leaves room for a cool short story or something in the future. But what you go on to suggest is more or less what's in my head at the moment, that they were focused on their own thing and obscure corners of the galaxy and not that connected to galactic events. But consider that unofficial for now.
I love that. I love their pairing. It's so great. It's fun to just kind of think about the stuff that they went through. Like when Scourge is wrecking the room, and she's like, "He'll calm down in a few minutes."
Yeah.
Like an old married couple.
That's right. Yeah, she's seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
All
Get him a
right.
juice box; it'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. That's there. Yeah, they did list a bunch of current known issues for 612, but most of them have now been corrected with 612A. So, yeah, I didn't notice though them fixing the root of the quick play issue some players encounter since the last patch. Sometimes people are, and it did happen to me once, but once I closed the game down and reloaded after 612. Like, it gave me the quick play bug where it says, "Oh, you're still loading the game. In the background, you can start a new character though if you like, and play level 1." And obviously that's not gonna happen. But yeah, but when that happened to me, I was able to just close the game completely down, reload it. It didn't need to patch again or anything, and I just went right into the game, and the quick play bug went away. I think for most people that seems to work. Anyway, holographic weapon tuning apparently is bugged on assault cannons. There's a few bugs that we can mention here. Cartel pack's invisible since the patch. I think that's hilarious. The cartel pack icons are invisible. So now you get to find the pack in your inventory.
Oh no.
I actually opened the one I was going to send. Or whatever. Yeah. And then they do know about the broken animation with female characters. So, yeah, reports concerning the body deformation when scanning things. Yeah, our team is aware of the bug and is currently tracking it. It seems to happen at various weird points where, especially when you're clicking on things, using items, stuff like that. So, and it's very random, and sometimes I think it's about to happen and then it doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, it's very weird, but
it should give you cartel coins when it happens, like bing, 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 bing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so disturbing. And you nailed it on the head with the what was the Kurt Russell movie?
The Thing, yeah.
The Thing.
It's totally The Thing.
Disturbing thing.
Yeah, it's right out of The Thing, man. It's disturbing. All right, so all right, well, let's see. In general Star Wars news, not much really grabbed my eye. I thought it was interesting, though, that Disney knows what side its bread is buttered on, and there's a bunch of Mandalorian stuff coming out. Just today, literally like an hour ago, StarWars.com is thrilled to announce a new publishing program dedicated to The Mandalorian, featuring books and titles for fans of all ages. So it's going to include The Art of the Mandalorian Season 1. It's going to include The Mandalorian, an original novel by Adam Christopher, an ultimate visual guide by Pablo Hidalgo, The Mandalorian Allies and Enemies Level 2 Reader by Brooke Vitale, The Mandalorian, an 8x8 storybook titled To Be Revealed Later by Brooke Vitale, The Mandalorian Junior novelization by Joe Schreiber. And then, in addition, Mandalorian-inspired comics are coming from Marvel and IDW, and magazine, novelty, and coloring and activity titles are on the way from Titan, Studio Fun, Crayola, Thunder Bay Press, Disney Publishing Worldwide, and Dreamtivity. And younger bounty hunters can look forward to a Little Golden Book and a Screen Comics retelling of Season 1. So, well, they know what to do when they have a hit.
They are like, they're on it.
They're on it. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think the art one might be really cool. And if I hear good things about the adult novel, I would probably check that out for sure. Those are probably the two that really grab me.
Right.
Retellings of the Season 1 are not as interesting to me, especially if they're aimed at, teens or for kids. But yeah, there's
Have you checked out Galleries? The Mandalorian Gallery show on Disney Plus?
No, I'll have to check that out. I have heard one or two good things about it, though. I just haven't taken the time. You really like that?
I love it. I mean, it's like a how they do it type of deal.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it almost as much as I enjoyed The Mandalorian. And then I went back and watched The Mandalorian again, and it made the second watch more entertaining.
Oh, that's cool.
Great.
Yeah, Fee said it blew her away, so there we go. All right. I will definitely check that out then. Yeah, and it's not really Star Wars related. It is Disney Plus related, but I'm looking forward to Hamilton on Disney Plus. So if you mostly got Disney Plus for Star Wars, they are showing Hamilton, which has always gotten such good reviews. And I looked at getting tickets, and they're just so expensive. They're literally hundreds of dollars each.
Man.
Yeah, they're very, very expensive. So I wasn't able to, I just could not afford it in good conscience. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this because I've always heard such good things about it, and it looks so interesting. And it's going to be coming out this Friday on Disney Plus. So if you're interested in Hamilton, that's another thing coming out. So there you go. All right. Anything else, Kitty?
Not that I can think of,
All right. Well, thank you for joining the show. I can't wait to have ongoing shows with you as co-host. And
I'm so excited too.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we'll plan on keeping this schedule until your schedule changes and your new schedule, because I know that getting back to work obviously terribly important, and we will then know when we can actually do it, and we'll go from there. So, all right, thanks, Kitty.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Dr. Swiltor. Sorry, Dr. Gameology.
That's right. That's right. Well, in our hearts, he'll be Dr. Swotor. But, Dr. Gameology is how he, leaps into the future. So I'm really excited for him.
I wonder how many fans are going to have to get, their tattoos that say Dr. Swotor. They're going to have to
cross it out. That's right. Oh yeah, and so everyone, if you're at all interested, please do become a subscriber on Dr. Gameology YouTube channel, because he's looking to try to get a certain number of subscribers so he can upgrade his YouTube site a little bit, and that would be really good. And they are really good, and I've been listening to them regularly. His mental health minute things are very well worth listening to. All right, then that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly, for now at Tuesdays at noon Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room. And thanks, Kitty. And thanks, Doc. And we'll catch you next time.
Ready?
All right. Let's see. Stop.